South China Morning Post, 13 April 2023, can a transparent, open SCO demonstrate that a less Western world is preferable to NATO's vision? A bunch of opportunists who may despise China but are members of the SCO not to be left out rule the organization. The contrast between NATO and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, is probably the best illustration of the West versus the rest there. NATO, which consists of 31 partners, is the world's most significant military alliance. The SCO, founded in 2001, is located on the Eurasian continent, has nearly 44% of the world's population and generates trillions of dollars in exports annually. Both organizations appear to be becoming more well-known. This can be seen in Saudi Arabia's cabinet approving a motion to join the SCO as a conversation partner on March 28 and Finland's admission into NATO on April 4. But appearances can be misleading. The difficulty NATO will have in the coming months and years is how to continue giving Ukraine enough military support without engaging in a direct conflict with Russia, which it has been striving to avoid since the start of the Cold War. How long the conflict in Ukraine will persist is a mystery. However, ensuring the conflict does not become a nuclear exchange in the center of Europe is another issue. Putin's threats to launch a nuclear assault may be bluffs, but his declaration that tactical nuclear weapons will be stationed in Belarus is unquestionably accurate. The location of this new Berlin Wall will be a concern if the result of the war is an armistice that further divides Ukraine. Because of the deterioration of Western democracy, NATO has reached a deadlock. While NATO has been searching for fresh challenges to justify its existence, such as those in the Indo-Pacific, it will struggle to bolster its military capabilities as democracy spreads. It is significant that despite Russia's invasion of Ukraine, other countries have continued to express interest in joining the SCO, a body co-led by China and Russia. At its summit in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, in September of last year, the SCO decided to admit Iran as a member state and begin accepting Belarus, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar as dialogue partners. It also decided to take Bahrain, the Maldives, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Myanmar as new dialogue partners in the future. The SCO has recently seen its most significant phase of growth, which serves as the most substantial evidence yet that the West's influence is waning. Subramaniam Jaishankar, the Minister of External Affairs for India, stated last year that Europe has to grow out of the mindset that the world's problems are not Europe's problems, but rather the world's problems are Europe's problems, but that Europe's problems are the world's problems. The phrase Europe must mature out of the mindset that Europe's war is the world's war but the world's other wars are not Europe's wars is a valuable paraphrase. The SCO is open, inclusive, and non-ideological, unlike NATO. However, it cannot afford to be viewed as an anti-Western group if it wants to expand sustainably. This has raised concerns for much of the organization's history, and they may become more pressing now that Russia is at war with Ukraine. Moscow and Beijing both refer to a multipolar world, but they hold different perspectives on it. Beijing is the biggest winner from globalization, which depends on the current world order, but Moscow dislikes that order and sees itself as a victim. Coordination between China and Russia is, therefore, essential. Beijing has at least maintained a tenable relationship with Europe, which sees China as a partner, competitor, and opponent, even while relations with Washington gradually worsen. For Moscow, maintaining a relationship like this with Europe today seems untenable. When the club includes the fifth largest economy in the world, critics of the SCO should pause before branding it a collection of totalitarian governments. However, such disparities are unlikely to matter much if the SCO doesn't develop into an alliance that requires shared adversaries and principles. India, a nation close to the West and a member of the SCO, is helpful because of this. The two wheels of the SCO cart are stated to be security and development, but what influences safety explicitly? Security operations concentrated on counter-terrorism when the SCO was established over 20 years ago. The group's joint counter-terrorism training exercises demonstrate this. While there are many different types of terrorist activity, they are not sufficiently prevalent to warrant extensive, cross-border military operations. Instead, stopping a war between member states is the main difficulty. India and Pakistan, two historically antagonistic nations, might once more clash. Alarmingly, in 2020, Chinese and Indian soldiers got into a violent altercation in the Galwan Valley. Violent border confrontations broke out between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan on the eve of the Samarkand Conference. Another battle between Armenia and Azerbaijan was about to break out that same week. The motivating factor that holds everyone together is economic prosperity. A quarter of the world's GDP comprises the SCO's GDP plus Iran. The organization's financial strength will increase with the accession of Saudi Arabia and Iran, two significant oil exporters. The sanctions on Russia will force non-Western nations to re-evaluate how to secure their investments and real estate. The shift from a unipolar financial system based on the US dollar to a more multipolar financial system will be driven by the SCO's gradual growth in local currency settlements in trading. The SCO distinguishes out from other US-led alliances in a divided globe. The challenge is demonstrating that a less westernized society is better.